Hello and welcome to the Healthy Happy Hour. We are going to have so much fun today. I have a fantastic guest for you. And, just come on in. Let us know that you're here. Please post in the comments below so that I know that you're here. And I hope that you are here because you're going to want to learn about how to live healthier, how to lose weight, keep it off forever. And there is one person that comes to mind that really knows what she is talking about. I mean, there's a few, but she is at the, right at the top of the list. And that is my still fairly new friend, Norby Mathews, that I met last year through the work that I did with Plant Pure Communities. And she lives in Chico, California, and she is a plant-based practitioner. She has a formal day job that she does as an accountant. Anyway, I'm going to let Nancy tell you more about what she's done and her story of losing over 100 pounds, eating all those things that we're always told we shouldn't eat. Pizza, pasta, potatoes, nachos, burritos, things like that we're not supposed to eat, but she eats. I eat too, but she's going to tell you all about it. So that's great. Nancy, tell us a little bit about your, about yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name again is Nancy Mathews. I'm 55 years old. I'm a mother of two grown daughters, 32 and 30 years old, and I have a 4-year-old grandson. Been married 33 years. I started on my plant-based journey when I was about 125 pounds overweight. I was at that pinnacle point in life where the big 50 was looming down on me. And I knew that was a big number. It was very significant and meaningful to me because my dad had his first heart attack when he was 47. And I thought, oh boy, I'm only 2 years older than he is. And when he had his first heart attack, and I meet all the criteria for heart disease. And women, as we know, that's our number one killer is heart disease. So I was facing reality. It was like, okay, I've got fatty liver syndrome. I'm morbidly obese. I have severe eczema. I have severe rosacea. I have severe allergies. My cholesterol was topping out at 268. My triglycerides were like always normal. So could not figure that one out. So yay for something. And I knew firsthand, having lived my whole life with my dad being a cardiac cripple, because he had not only had his first major heart attack when he was 47, he had additional heart attacks and then 2 open heart surgeries, 2 bypass surgeries, and congestive heart failure. So I was like, okay. And historically, our whole family was doing the same thing. And I was like, okay, this is not the path I want to live. So I saw my dad's cardiologist. I had a full workup done. I did the stress test where you get on that treadmill and they have you all hooked up for sound. And I thought for sure I was going to die. I just knew I was going to go right over on that treadmill because it gets higher and higher and higher. But I didn't. And I was thrilled to find out that my heart's in very good health. But my dad's cardiologist said, okay, Nancy, you got to get serious because you might have got a little bit of a get out of jail free card here with these tests, but that doesn't mean that a year from now or 2 years from now, you could be back here as a cardiac patient. So I had talked to her about adopting a whole food plant-based lifestyle. She unfortunately wasn't real familiar with it. So I gave her a little education and she said, well, it sounds like it would be wonderful. So go for it. I saw forks over knives and I adopted the plant-based lifestyle. And I'm happy to say all of those other chronic illnesses that I had are gone. And I've also shed 105 pounds and I'm not going to be following in my dad's footsteps with heart disease. And that was my motivating factor, that and of course cancer, because he inevitably had passed away from cancer. And all of these are lifestyle diseases that are, related to the food we eat. And these past 6 years has been very educational for me.
Wow. Isn't that amazing? And, I hear you say that, that they gave you a clean bill of health with your heart, but you were really overweight. I mean,
oh yeah.
With what you know now,
yeah.
Do you think that was true?
I don't know because the test results were no blockages, and I have a slight heart murmur that I've had my whole entire life. Nothing significant. I can't contribute her diagnosis other than she said I had no blockages. And so I was thrilled because I should have had a lot of blockages because I ate the standard American diet like so many other people do. I drank beer, I drank wine. We'd go to, pizza or taco night and have a margarita or two. But my diet was focused around meat. That was the way we were raised. I mean, my grandfather was a cattle rancher. My grandfather raised white-faced Herefords and won carload champions down at the Cow Palace. And my other grandfather was a dairyman. So food was the centerpiece. Christmas was the biggest, hugest prime rib we could get, or the biggest turkey we could get. So that was always the focal point. And, tacos were always with hamburger. And, that was where, all of our diseases in our family stemmed from. It wasn't hereditary. It was the fact that we had a big, sad animal on our buffet table, and all of us in the family have had so many health issues, and it really stems from that.
Yeah, I understand from some professionals that blockages don't show with all these, heart scans and things that people do, unless you're doing there's some special neck scan.
Yeah, the carotid artery.
Yeah, but unless which most people don't test for at all.
I didn't have that done.
But you have to be more than 70% blocked for most methodologies to show that you have a heart problem. So I just think that that's absolutely crazy. And people are, as you said, it's the number one killer of women in the United States. It's been the number one killer of men and women in the United States for 15 years going strong now. And it's the number one killer, I'm pretty sure, throughout the world of men and women. And it's what you and I have learned is that it goes back to the animal eating that we were doing. And similarly, my father was a major carnivore, and we were all carnivores. And I wanted Daddy to like me, so Daddy, I love steak too. Yeah, and
let's go get a hamburger with Dad. I mean, we all did that. It was fun.
Yeah. So you watched Forks Over Knives, and that was a real catalyst for you.
No, it wasn't a catalyst, Gina. It was life-changing. It was like, not many people, or many people have some event in their life that profoundly changes them. And I can honestly say that when I watched it, and it's because everything, my dad and I were two peas in a pod, and we enjoyed each other's company. And it really was sad to think that, he was so crippled for so long with his heart disease, and that it was reversible and that it was preventable. So when I was sitting on my couch watching Forks Over Knives, I mean, I was boo-hooing, crying, and I was mad. I was furious at the food industry. I was furious at the medical industry for not teaching people. I was mad at the big pharmacy. I felt like everything we knew our entire life that we were taught about nutrition was a big, bold lie, and that we've been duped into this money machine. Our healthcare industry is in shambles. And then I saw hope. And I felt that there was, because my dad had already passed away after Forks Over Knives. So I was again reliving his death that could have been preventable. And that was what really was pivotal. So my axis has changed. I turned my head like this, and I looked at my husband, Nick. I said, I'm done. There will never be an animal product pass through these lips and for the rest of my life. And then that's how strongly I feel about it. There will never be anything. And if I even think that there might be a hidden ingredient in there that might be might be animal based, I have literally emailed companies when they have tried to trick you into the hiding ingredients like whey protein isolate. And for people that don't know, they need to put on the big label, this contains dairy. So there's so many, tricks in marketing and packaging that I'm helping people that I coached and talked to really become label detectives. But it really was Forks Over Knives that started me on this path, and I've never looked back. And it's been life changing.
Wow. Well, we haven't, the two of us, we haven't really talked about the father issue a lot, but my father died of cancer.
Yeah. And I'm sorry. It's a terrible death.
It is. And while his has not, at least in my research, is not specifically related to eating animal products, I know that basically all cancer. Well, I don't want to go into all the medical parts of it here because I'm not a doctor and I'm not a dietitian.
We're not doctors, but we are educated.
Yeah. And so, I believe that animal products feed cancer. We all have cancers growing in our body at any time, and they can either inflame and start growing or not. And based on the research I've done, I believe that animal products do fuel the cancers. And so my father was dying of cancer. And I thought I was being a good daughter, bringing him food home to, I would go visit him before, when he was in really bad shape. And I would try to take him tasty things that I thought he would love. And I was taking him shrimp and steak and things like that I knew he used to love. And we were trying to get him to eat anything, it was at that point where is he going to eat it all? So it's heartbreaking. And,
it is.
Much like you're saying, I know we're both so passionate about this. I mean, does a day go by that we don't see a friend of ours, post on Facebook or get a phone call that, somebody has cancer, somebody has high blood pressure, somebody's just been diagnosed with heart disease or died, even worse, that they've already passed away from these things before we even knew it. And we know this information and we want to get it out there, which is why I do this. I mean, it's profoundly affected my life. I've lost over 50 pounds and for the first time in my life, keeping it off effortlessly. I know I will never, ever have a weight problem again. It's the most incredible gift I've ever given to myself.
I agree 100%. I've always, thought that, what would it be like to have a body that you didn't have to worry about, putting your rump inside in a plastic chair that you're afraid that it would crush underneath you. Or, Nick and I, we went to New York, or to Cape Cod last summer, and I just fit, effortlessly into the airplane seat, and I'm sitting in the middle seat, and there was wiggle room in there, and I could bring the tray down, and there was space, between me and the tray, and I didn't have to like crunch in, and it's life changing. It's such a great feeling to not carry that excess weight around. And when I was going to the gym on a regular basis with my husband, we were going to a co-ed gym, and I picked up a barbell that I asked, and at that time I'd lost 75 pounds, and I asked Michael, I said, hey, will you put 75 pounds weights on this barbell so I can feel what I've lost? Gina, I could barely pick it up off the ground. And I had to bend over and lift it up, and I had to use my legs. And I looked at my trainer and I said, frickin' A, Michael, I just lost this weight. Now I can't even hardly pick it up. And he said, Nancy, that weight has been on you, on your joints, on your knees, on your ankles, on your feet. You've been carrying that weight in your hips and your shoulders. And that's really eye-opening. And another thing that I did is I got a 50-pound bag of dog food off the shelf at the grocery store, and I picked it up and I was holding it in my arms, and I went to walk. I had to get this in my brain that this was really happening. So I took that 50-pound bag of dog food and I walked the whole length of the aisle at the grocery store, and I was huffing and puffing by the time I shoved it back into the bottom shelf, and I was exhausted. And it's like, so imagine when you shed that amount of weight, it's the things that you can do, it's pretty limitless. It's pretty limitless, and it's just a great feeling.
Well, I hear you. And, for me, I certainly sleep better. I know that I look younger. Oh, yeah. I know that I'm de-aging. I'm basically going back in years, which is fantastic.
Aging is great.
I'm headed to my 40th high school reunion in a few weeks. So, that's
going to be gorgeous, my friend.
But, it's a great feeling to not. I know that a lot of my girlfriends are saying, oh my God, I got to lose 10 pounds. I got to lose 20 pounds before I go to the conference this summer, before I go to my reunion or whatever. I'm like, if I could lose maybe drop of 5 pounds or so, I'd be okay, but I'm fine. I could walk into the reunion today feeling good. I weigh about what I weighed in high school when I graduated.
Wow. Congratulations.
So, it's a fantastic feeling. And it's just the way that I eat all the time. In fact, just for lunch today, I left a little bite so I could show everybody. Oh my God, can you see this? This is like a chocolate fudgy brownie thing.
Ooh.
And it's from that Dr. Greger book, How Not to Die cookbook. Which
love that book.
I have that to show you right now, but it's on another shelf. Anyway, I eat chocolate most every day. I eat potatoes. Okay, so let's talk about high carbs. I know that you and your partner are the starch queens.
We are the starch queens.
Yeah, tell us how you got the name Starch Queens and why you embrace eating high carb, low fat. Is that how you would describe your diet? Okay.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, Jeanne and I met through the McDougall Friends Facebook page a number of years ago, and we hit it off. And there was a comment thread going on about who would like to, share what they've learned and become a health coach. And I was in the middle of that thread, and I said, well, I know I definitely want to. And Jeanne had used her Facebook profile picture was the Starch Solution emblem that she had completed the Dr. McDougall Starch Solution program. And so I knew that she was really advanced in her nutritional education in starch. And so I messaged her and I said, I'm really interested in coaching and furthering my plant-based education. And so we just hit it off right then and there. And then Plant Pure Nation came out, and we were commenting back and forth, and Jeanne was starting to work on the curriculum for part of their program. And so I was contributing to that with her. And then the pods, in the Plant Pure Nation movie documentary, at the end of the documentary, it says, hey, find a pod in your town. If there isn't one, create one. So I immediately went on the website. I created Plant-Based Chico Pod. She had already done Plant-Based Westchester. And then we started talking back and forth with, she was mentoring me on my pod because she had been at it about probably 5 or 6 months longer than I had, because I was taking care of my mom, who was in the recovering from double mastectomy surgery. So I had a later start to my pod. So she was giving me tips and tricks, and we just grew this wonderful friendship. And then one day we were talking about starches and foods and recipes, and she said something really profound. And I said, Jeanne, this is why you are the starch queen. And so then it just we went back and forth from there. And, we created, our program for, 10-day free weight loss challenges through our network of plant-based towns. And then that led us to becoming the Starch Queens and taking it to the next level with helping people that need more coaching, want to have that next level of intensive instruction and education on how they too can shed the weight, reverse disease, and live their best life. I mean, that's what it's all about, because it's a lifestyle. It's not a diet. And then how did I lose the weight eating carbohydrates? It's starches. Starches are energy. Starches are energy. And this is where we are the polar opposite of paleo. We can burn fat for energy, but it's not a sustainable energy. We damage our kidneys through a paleo, low carb, high fat diet. It advances heart disease. It advances chronic disease. And those are the little elements that they don't tell you about, that if people do the paleo diet, it should come with a disclaimer that, you're going to have weight loss, but it's also going to come at a cost. So you're probably not going to keep the weight off because it's not sustainable, because there's no sustainable energy there. Our body needs to have energy, and that comes from complex carbohydrates like sweet potatoes, legumes, whole grain breads, like you say, pasta. Those are on the higher calorie density scale. So you're going to lose weight slower eating those, but nonetheless, your body will heal because you're not introducing high acid foods like meat and dairy that cause inflammation. And to make a point on what you were talking about a little bit ago, was the connection between cancer and meat. Is we know that through the China study with Dr. T. Colin Campbell, the casein protein link, and that you can turn on or off the gene by what you eat. So pretty profound stuff. That's been my journey, and eating a lot of vegetables and fruit and burritos. I think Nick and I probably have eaten about 20,000 burritos each through this lifestyle. We just love them. The food is simple. It doesn't have to be hard. You don't have to get all in the panic mode of menu planning and recipes. You know, we all normally eat about 14 things over and over and over. So make them, you know, your plant-based options include sweet potatoes and brown rice, and then build up from there. And just a bowl, we like to make a bowl that's got a starch base of a sweet potato or brown rice or lentils or both. And then we'll just pile high with all kinds of vegetables that are either steamed or stir-fried, water sauteed with bok choy. And then we'll make a nice sauce to go on top. And who would say that that's not delicious? And
you sound so depressed. You just sound.
I know. It's just terrible.
Nothing to eat if you're on a vegan diet. Nothing.
Right. I know. And that's unfortunately, that's where people get so hung up in it. Is like, what do you eat? And I tell them, you eat everything, but a couple things, you know, no meat and dairy, you know, the whole plant kingdom is a free for all, you know, and it's like, but I'm so guilty of that myself. I knew nothing about nutrition when I started. I was the big gulp Diet Coke and Diet Pepsi in the morning, cold cereal or 2 scrambled eggs and toast, or the drive-through, you know, Jack in the Box or whatever breakfast egg McMuffin thing, on my way to work, just feeling terrible. And then lunch again I was terrible. I didn't ever bring my lunch to work. I would do Taco Bell or Burger King or Jack in the Box because it was just like, go get it, bring it back to work at my desk and eat while I'm working. There was just no structure. It's what I call you're free fallen. You're free fallen, and you don't have any structure in your nutritional life. And when you're free fallen with food, when you hit the bottom, it's disease. And so it's like ending that free fall, getting that structure with plant-based meals at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It makes everything come into it. You get a perspective of where your life can go, when you feel really healthy. It's a game changer.
Boy, I hear you. And I found it to be so easy too. I mean, I just basically, it's sort of my easiest shift that I share with people, and it really helps me, and I think it helps a lot of other people too, is if the recipe calls for animal products, just use beans. I just use beans. So if it were a chicken tikka masala, I use basically the masala recipe. I will use non-dairy, non-cow milk.
Right.
Cream.
Plant milk. Mm-hmm.
Plant milk, yes. And then I will use beans instead of the chicken. And in the beginning, I bought more of the fake meats from Whole Foods and Publix and places like that because it was an easier transition. It really was. Use
a lot of
fake ground beef and fake chicken and that. But I've learned that beans taste great. They're much healthier for me. They're less expensive. I always have them in the cupboard, in the pantry, so I can just go and do that. And I see a lot of our folks out there, Lisa and Kara, are saying they love potatoes, and I love potatoes too. Maybe you can share with us in just a couple minutes your favorite way to eat potatoes. And I just wanted to say, hello, Deanne and Lisa and Deborah. I see several of you guys out there. Thanks so much. Thanks for chiming in. And, please let us know what you think you would find difficult if you were going to go to a plant-based diet. While Nancy's going to tell us about her favorite little potato snack or potato meal. How do you incorporate potatoes on a day-to-day basis?
I just eat them. I mean, there's really just eat them. I mean, my husband, I'll tell you real quick a funny story about my husband. I was coaching my cousin who's 42. He was a professional baseball player. He was drafted out of high school by the California Angels. So his whole life has been baseball, baseball, baseball. But in that meantime, he's tore down his body, his knees, his hips, everything hurts. And he's a 6'6", thin guy, but he has a lot of inflammation in his body. He doesn't have an ounce of fat on his body. And he's what a lot of people refer to in the medical industry that's plant-based called skinny obese. And so he had a lot of really, pretty chronic issues with health that stem from inflammation. And so I was, coaching Mike in the kitchen, teaching him how to, everything from just knife skills. And I said, well, Mike, he said, what can I eat for snacks? And I said, a cold potato. Have you ever had a cooked cold potato? He said, first he said a raw potato. I said, oh no, I don't recommend raw potatoes to anybody. But I said a cooked russet potato dipped in mustard or balsamic vinegar or some hot sauce or salsa, or for him, because he wasn't, overweight, avocado or guacamole. And he said, no, I've never even thought of that. That's just, actually, he said, sounds disgusting. And I said, well, here, let's just have an experiment. So Nick goes to the refrigerator, because I always have a big bowl of cooked sweet potatoes, sweet russets, red potatoes, because that's our grab and go snack. And so I had Mike take a bite of the potato, dip it in some Cholula sauce and some vinegar, and Nick was in the background going, oh, geez, this is really good. And even though we've been plant-based for all these years, I was the one eating cold potatoes and my husband wasn't, because he thought it was weird. But, I tasked them to do it and they did it. And they were like, I can't believe how good this is. So we have in the Starch Queens program what we call the potato hour. So you can have your potatoes cold. You can, if you have an air fryer, slice them up like a French fry, put them in the air fryer. Microwave them. If people are using microwaves, I don't personally use a microwave, but a lot of people do, and to reheat them, or just eat them cold. They're really, really good. You can put sweet potatoes or russet potatoes, fingerling potatoes into any dish, and you're going to get low calories, high fiber, a lot of vitamin C, and then that wonderful energy that you're going to get from the complex carbohydrate. But cold potatoes we eat them all the time. Love them.
I do too. And I was surprised to eat them, start eating them that way too. And I just, I get the sauces that I loved. I mostly use like either a wing sauce or a Tabasco sauce and black pepper and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's a really good go-to for me. And I do keep them, they travel great. I've been shocked to learn everybody wants a good travel snack, and I travel a lot. So what do I take on the road with me? I've been surprised that potatoes, they'll keep for quite a while, and I can eat them, and it works great. And to the point about microwaving, I was surprised to recently hear Dr. Greger, who I know that you respect also.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely the number one guru in my mind of people that I listen to, because he's got his whole army of people who vet the studies before they ever go onto his great website called nutritionfacts.org, or go into his book. Like I have to show this almost every show, because this is the most fantastic book. You guys have to get this book. It's really great. At knowing the different,
wonderful.
Yeah, I've read it. I've listened to it. It's my Bible. But he says that actually microwaving is safe, and that it's safer. I mean, it produces healthier potatoes than other methods. So who knew?
Interesting.
I was surprised. Yeah. So do your own research, folks, but do it on nutritionfacts.org, and you'll get the research from Dr. Greger. So let's see, Jeanne. Hey, Jeanne's out there. Your partner I won't say partner in crime. Your partner in do-gooding. You guys are out there doing a lot of
my potato partner.
Your potato partner. Well, tell us more about the potato parties and what you guys do at with your Starch Queens weight loss program, and how people can get involved with that.
Well, I would love to. So Jeanne and I started what we have called the Starch Queens the Starch Queens Weight Loss and Lifestyle Program. It's a wonderful program. Jeanne is, as you know, has her doctorate in education, and she focuses on environmental sciences and chemistry, and she's very knowledgeable in whole food, plant-based living, lifestyle living, chemicals, toxins. She's just an absolute guru in it, along with having lost close to 100 pounds herself. Together, we share our experience. We share our education and our experience. Like you, Gina, I have read every book there is. I've earned my certificate in plant-based nutrition through the T. Colin Campbell Center for Nutrition. I'm working on my Tasty Life coaching certificate and cooking instructor certificate. Jeanne has her certificate from the Dr. McDougall Starch Solution program and her plant-based nutrition certificate. So combined, we have together lost over 200 pounds. We bring a lot of our personal life experience to the program, where we can help people who are just starting out in transitioning to a whole food plant-based lifestyle, to people who are just wanting to focus on weight loss through the lifestyle. And we have people who want to get off medication, that have heart disease, hypertension, type 2 diabetes. They have, a numerous assortment of health-related issues that I call foodborne issues because, Dr. Greger calls them foodborne illnesses. A lot of the plant-based doctors too. And it's been fabulous. We started on January 1st. People can find our program at www.sqweightloss.com. We have people that are down 30 pounds, getting off blood pressure medication, doing 7-8 miles in their walking program. It's amazing the transformations that we're seeing in a short period of time. Simply, we're like 103 days into this program, and we're already seeing life transformations that are powerful. Jeanne and I know that this happens because we've experienced it, and we touch on food addiction issues because, that's a real issue for myself. I was a food addict. I wasn't the type of person who was a binge and purge or anorexic. The last thing I've ever been in my life is anorexic. But we also tackle and share our experience with food addiction and how we've worked through the challenges of it through learning tools, techniques, and eating habits, changing habits that help our people in our program learn from us, and it's making a difference. And food triggers. So we really encompass everything through our daily education. We have a Google Classroom, and each day, Monday through Friday, we post an educational topic. And the Starch Queens is a trifecta approach. It's what goes in and on your body, what fitness and environmental toxins. We encompass everything because when a person is wanting to get very healthy, yet you put something on your body that has a lot of chemicals in it, it's absorbed into your skin in, let's say, the 26 or 16 seconds. And so you're already, giving your body another level of work it needs to do to be healthy. So we want everybody to understand that it's not just the food that you eat, but it's what you drink. It's the personal care products, the makeup, the cleaning supplies, everything that you're using is affecting you. For me, for my thyroid, I was hypothyroid, taking levothyroxine since I was basically out of high school, and I'm no longer taking it anymore. And it was when I bumped up my lifestyle to really focus in, laser point into my makeup, because I'm a self-proclaimed makeup hoarder. I love makeup, but I wasn't looking at the ingredients in it. And as I became transitioning my whole food plant-based lifestyle to a more cruelty, to be cruelty-free minded through veganism, I didn't want to buy anything that was used tested on animals. I love animals, so that was the first thing. I was like, oh, I got to look at this next phase of my journey because I don't want my dollars going to that. So then I was looking at the chemicals that were in them. And then I was actually feeling a little funky. And I went to my doctor and I was feeling like weird. I had these weird headaches and stuff. And so I went off my thyroid medication, and I've had 2 subsequent blood tests that have showed that my thyroid is normal. And it was when I started removing all of those types of chemicals out of our cleaning products. And so I think that that's the next level of journey for people to get through. And we don't want to, barrage everybody all at once. We are educating them about everything so that they can start moving towards that same goal to get off the prescriptions, to get healthy. And we're having really fun. We have a great group. We have a secret Facebook group. We have the Google Classrooms. We do the Starch Queens Q&A Facebook Live from our Facebook page. And then we have a weekly specific educational topic each Sunday for our group. And we're really building great relationships and seeing progress with everybody that we're coaching. It's wonderful.
Boy. Well, that is so exciting. I mean, I've been so excited for you guys since I saw what you were doing for free for people. And I'm like, that's fantastic. And you probably could do it and do it even better if you did get paid for it. And so, I was pleased to help you guys get it launched and give you some marketing support on that. But you guys have just taken it and run with it bigger and better than I could have even imagined. And your partner Jeanne there says that she likes the potatoes. She heats them up in her mini hot lodget. And she said she likes the Viracha sauce. I'm thinking she might mean sriracha, but maybe there was a typo there. But I love sriracha hot sauce. So.
It's actually
Is it Viracha also?
Yeah, and Jeanne will probably, because Jeanne is Jeanne, she's our Starch Queen of Diamonds. She'll put the link to the Viracha sauce. I just ordered some. I had never heard of it, and I was like, oh man, I gotta try this. It's like this veggie spin of sriracha, and it looks really good. So I'll have mine actually be delivered tomorrow. I'm excited, Jeanne.
Oh, fantastic. Is sriracha not vegan?
I think it is. I think it's just a more like less sodium version. So we'll ask Queen of Diamonds to give us her input. I read the ingredients and I said, oh, this is totally doable. And I'm hoping that the flavor is similar to the sriracha.
Oh, cool. Well, let's come back up to the skincare and the makeup and the cleansing products and that sort of thing. Well, that's fantastic. And so you teach your people the products that you guys like, and I think Jeanne actually introduced me to a hair color product that I'm using now, Nature Tint, which is much more, I can just feel that it's more healthy for my hair, and it feels
amazing.
Yeah. So I saw her on a video like this one day. She was doing an interview with somebody, and it came up. Jeanne, if you're still out there, I'm pretty sure that was you that recommended it. I meant to tell you, thank you. And, we've talked before. I really love the Arbonne products. I love that they're vegan, they're cruelty-free, and I do feel that they're very good for my body. I don't know what it is that you use, but if you want to share, please go ahead.
So my first really, how do I want to say it? My first real departure from the Procter & Gamble products was the Honest Company. It was right at the time that my grandson was born, because it was like I had an epiphany. It was like, oh gosh, I don't want one harmful thing to be around this little angel that has blessed our lives. So a little thing came across Facebook about Jessica Alba's company, the Honest Company, and it was a diaper program. And Cassie had I had been asking her, what gift do you want for your bridal or your baby shower? And she said, well, diapers. And so I thought, well, these look pretty interesting. So I bought the delivery program. Grandma and Grandpa paid for all the diapers for the time he was a week old to the time he took his last diaper. And he never had any diaper rashes. One time he had a diaper rash because he had to have antibiotics for an ear infection, but there was no diaper rashes. And these are chemical-free, chlorine-free diapers, and they were worth every cent. He just did wonderful in these diapers. So I highly recommend the Honest Company diapers. And we're seeing them now in stores like Target, and Costco's carrying some of the Honest Company products. Jessica Alba is doing a really good thing. It's what I call a gateway product that's less than the commercial products, but there's still some more higher EWG ranked ingredients that should be lower. And then Jeanne, of course, educated me on Pure Haven Essentials, a true company that is got no toxins, no chemicals. And then, of course, Arbonne. I was an Arbonne distributor too. I never sold anything. I was for my own personal use. And that was like the next step in my departure from the Procter & Gamble, Bayer Aspirin company, types of products that are just more laden with chemicals. So, and that's when I started seeing some real differences in how I was feeling. And I don't obsess over, and toothpaste. I really like my toothpaste that I'm using through Pure Haven Essentials, but I was also using Arbonne. And I think it's just really important that people understand that we want to get chemicals out of our environment, not just for us, but for the watershed, things that go down the drain, how they affect our aquatic life, our botanical life, because, septic tanks, all of that goes into the earth, and it's going to come back up. And it's just, you get this circle of toxins and chemicals in your life, and they affect your adrenal glands, your endocrine system, and it's really, truly impossible to be chemical and toxin free. But if you can get as much out of your life, it'll make a big difference. Wow.
Yeah, I hear you. And thanks for sharing all that. And I see that that my friend Deborah Hurwitz, who is also a fellow Arbonne consultant, she's out there. She loves talking about this stuff too. Today she has a question about bread, crackers, chips, and pasta. Can processed white flour products assist in weight loss? So starch queen of hearts. Tell us all about it.
So Dr. Furman tells us the whiter it is, the quicker you're dead. So with that, and I'll just go from there, because anything that's white has had the bran husk removed from it. It's had the germ removed from it. It's had all of the nutrition stripped from it, and a big portion of the fiber stripped from it. So we in our program do not recommend anything white. You know, if you're at a restaurant situation and you're traveling and you have to get white rice versus brown rice because they don't have brown rice, you know, it's fine. Have the white rice. But as far as chips go, chips are, if they're fried in oil, that's not part of our program. That's something that I have not had since I launched my weight loss program and started to get healthy, was because chips for me were a trigger food. That was when I said I was an emotional eater, salty, oily chips were my go-to, my medicine for my stress eating. And that medicine was killing me. So I had to walk away from chips. There's nothing low calorie or healthy about chips. There's just nothing good about them. Pasta, if the pasta is whole grain, whole wheat, then, you know, that's definitely part of a whole food, plant-based lifestyle, but it's very high on the calorie density scale. So if you're looking for weight loss, you're not going to see that by having a big bowl of pasta every night, because that big bowl of pasta, when you look at the serving size, that's a very big eye opener for a lot of people, is when you turn the package over and you look at that servings, and it's usually like a third of a cup. Well, a third of a cup in, you know, say spaghetti is maybe 12 strands of spaghetti. That's not going to fill you up. So when you think of calorie density, you want to fill up the volume of your stomach with low calorie, high nutrient foods like vegetables, fruits, sweet potatoes, and then have something higher on the calorie density scale, like the whole grain pasta with some nice marinara sauce that's oil free. But as far as white flour products go, they have not been part of my weight loss journey. They have had, they've had appearances in there. For example, there would be family events where I would make a zucchini bread, but I always opted to go with a whole wheat flour ingredient, unless it called for like a chickpea flour. But those are generally, you know, all chickpea is made from beans, but then there's spelt and there's buckwheat, and they tend to leave the wheat germ in there, and that makes it more of a whole grain. So I can't recommend crackers, chips for weight loss, but pasta, as long as it's whole grain, it was very much part of mine and Nick's weight loss journey. We had a lot of whole wheat pasta with marinara sauce. We loved it. But what happened during that phase is I stalled on my weight loss. I was plateauing because I hadn't put the calorie density factor to play. And it wasn't until I learned that the weight started to release again. So if you've lost your weight and you want to maintain your weight, have a couple servings a week of whole grain pasta. It's totally fine. But the white products, there's no nutrition in there per se. I call it filler food. It'll fill you up, but it's going to be like, you know, that Chinese food syndrome. You're going to be hungry 2 hours later because the majority of the fiber has been stripped from it.
Well, now there's a couple of white foods that I think you and I would both agree are fairly healthy. Certainly cauliflower, very healthy. Yeah. Perfect. And potatoes, white potatoes, even sweet potatoes more healthy, white potatoes healthy, and you can live a long time on potatoes. In general, a principle that I think you guys share and teach is that the more vibrant the color of the food, generally the healthier it is. So red onions healthier than yellow onions, healthier than white onions, and so the bright colors have the bright nutrients, and so they're more nutritious.
Right. And that's when when I'll put my salad bowls together, I want to make sure that I'm encompassing as many colors as I can. So I've got vibrant green romaine lettuce, and then I'll put in power greens that have chard and kale and collards, and I'll chop that up. Then I add the red onions for flavor, and I'll even add some green onions. Then I add both blueberries and raspberries and cucumbers, and then just get as many vibrant colors as you can in there with some pumpkin seeds for, you know, some extra minerals to be part of the salad. And sprouts. I like to put in various kinds of sprouts into my salad, low in calories, high in nutrients. And those are the really health promoting, what I call the healing meals, when you get that rainbow in there. Oh, there's a little head walking by. Who's that? That's my grandson.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good.
There's Logan.
Well, bring him over. I'm glad he's there in person because I was going to show a picture of him. He's just the cutest little thing ever. Hello there, Logan. How are you?
Gina says hello. We'll take this off for a second. You can talk to Gina now. Say hi to Gina. Look there. Look up there.
I want to have something.
Oh, he wants to have one of the ears. Okay. All right. This is just going to be the way it is for a minute, folks.
Okay. Well, what a cutie pie, and good to have your motivation there. You know, while he's sitting there, let me just share some quick thoughts on the breads and such. You know, just to build on what Nancy said about the chips, my good friend Dr. Josh Hellman has taught me that anything that's fried, and chips are no exception, are going to have acrylamide. And acrylamide is a cancer-causing agent. So, you know, I shun away from all chips. And I love salsa. I love guacamole, but I just eat it with a spoon. And you don't need those heavy chips and the cancer-causing chips with it. You can just eat it with a spoon or put it on your beans or your, you know, whatever it is that you want to do, or on your potato. And that works great. As far as bread goes, bread can be tricky because sometimes dark bread is flavored and colored with things that aren't healthy. So right. Dr. Greger has a formula that I use always to choose a whole grain product. And he says it's a 5-to-1 ratio. So you want carbohydrates to be no more than 5 times the amount of fiber in the food. So if the slice of bread shows 5 grams, 25 grams would be more like it of carbohydrate, then as long as the fiber is 5, you're good to go. But if that ratio is off, you don't want to go higher. You could go lower, but don't go higher. So anything else you want to add on that?
No, I agree with that 100%. That's exactly right. What I do want to say real quick though about the chips is that when Nick and I were transitioning, we know that it's a big shock to a lot of people's systems to let go of chips, let go of crackers. And we want to give them, so if I'm taking somebody and coaching them from the standard American diet to a whole food plant-based lifestyle, we know that Dr. McDougall says, you know, fine, organic whole corn tortillas are part of a whole food plant-based lifestyle. So what Nick and I did before we had an air fryer is we would just take those tortillas and we would cut them up and we would bake them in the oven, and we would make our own chips. And so we would have salsa and we would make our nachos, because that's what I said, you know, in part of the introduction for our talk today was I lost weight eating nachos. And that was something that was always one of my pleasure meals. Is we love to have nacho Saturday nights or nacho Fridays with our daughters. And then in the Seventh-day Adventist community, there's what's called haystacks. And they actually coined the phrase haystacks. And so it was a big salad, it's big nachos. And so I wasn't going to have anything fried. So we figured out how to do pretty good at baking the tortillas to make our own chips. And again, it wasn't a weight loss meal, but it was a great transition meal from the standard American diet to really learning that I could make good swaps in chips and crackers, that I was still able to continue my health journey, my disease reversal journey, and also lose weight, because there's no fat there. They're a little higher on the calorie density scale. They're a refined grain, but they're still whole food plant-based. And so it was a better decision. Let's see, the chips from the fried bag of chips from the grocery store, or my baked organic whole grain tortillas. So those are the things that I like to help people learn in transition. And then you take it to the next step for weight loss, where we have to really, you know, reduce those if we want to get to our weight loss goal.
Speaking of corn tortillas, you remind me of your partner Jeanne's, one of her favorite dishes there that I've made a number of times, and it is totally a people pleaser. People love it, is the Mexican lasagna. So Jeanne, if you're out there and if you're still out there and you can grab that recipe that you do on YouTube for Mexican lasagna, please share that in the comments, because you guys will love that. It's so easy and quick. It's fairly quick as far as, you know, the time that you have to be active. You do need to bake it for a bit, but oh my gosh, it's just fantastic. I love it. We just finished off another big dish of it this week, and I use the corn tortillas as Jeanne recommends in there.
It's delicious.
All right. Well, we've been going almost an hour here. We need to bring it in. There's some great comments out there. Deborah, I hear you. Arbonne Skincare is the best. Yeah, we love it. So I'm going to feature that comment there. It's really fantastic. And Jeanne says sriracha is awesome. Vegetable sriracha made with tomatoes, carrots, spinach, butternut squash, and jalapenos. Oh, that's good because sriracha may be vegan, but it's not filled with lots of healthy stuff like that. So that would be really good. Jeanne mentions that Andrew Spudfit Taylor lived on potatoes for more than a year. He lost over 100 pounds. He totally cured himself of depression. Amazing. He had really serious depression. And I mean, there's definitely significant research that says you can live on potatoes for a very long time. Many civilizations live on potatoes, mostly potatoes, and it's very, very healthy. Yep. Let's see. All right. We got more comments out there. Kevin, who I think might actually be Lisa. I think Lisa was having some trouble watching, but Kevin, let me know if that's Kevin or if that's Lisa. So she's saying, she's enjoyed the education. I think the comment's too big to show on the screen. I'm just going to read it. The education we received this week on the weight loss program. I assume that's your program. I don't care for brown rice at all, so I've been eating white rice. Never realized that although we can have white rice, brown is better. Yeah, darker food's better. More color, the better. But it can be a trigger food for some. I have learned it's trigger food for her, and very interesting about the nightshade veggies. Okay, very good.
Yep, that's part of our educational program is to get all of the information that it took Jeanne and I 6 years to learn, or collectively, we've got about 14 years between us be learning all of these tips and tricks and the education that I've got hundreds of books that I've read, and so we want to just really bring that down into 1 hour or so educations on the topics where we highlight it and pull the resources in so that people can really build their foundation. That's one of the things that on my morning drives with Nancy, is that I really want people to build their foundation and learn that food is either killing you or it's healing you. And that processed foods are just, garbage foods. That's just, they're not food. There's nothing in there that's nutritious. Sure, there's some things that there's a gray area in there, but Hamburger Helper, things like that. Those are just not, they just want your money, and there's nothing healing about it. We really want to focus on the healing, because the weight will shed. The body will release the weight as the body heals.
Well, yes, there's just so much. And I'm so grateful that you guys are out there sharing this information with people and really getting it out in a way that educates and helps. And I know neither of you are, you're not the ugly vegans that sometimes we hear about. I don't know any ugly vegans that are shaming and condescending and, you've got to stop eating animals. But you guys are educators. You share, you love on your people, and you nourish them mentally and emotionally, as well as helping them learn how to nourish their bodies with the food and with the products that they're using, and to get in some exercise, which, by the way, you guys, with all this newfound energy that Nancy has, even here in her early 50s, right? You said early 50s, you're doing marathons?
55, and I am. And I want to segue on that. And I want to touch something. You said the ugly vegan, and I want to talk about that real quick, because I know we're getting short on time. Is one of the things that I really like, and my takeaway from Plant Pure Communities was how they encouraged us as pod group leaders to reach out to other type organizations in our community. And where I'm at in Chico, California, we've got a population of about 100,000. We're a university town. I reached out to the group leader of Chico Vegan Meetup, and I wasn't vegan. You have to remember, I came from a ranching family. I raised sheep, I raised pigs, I raised cows, all for 4-H and FFA. That was my normal. I was the type of person that looked at vegans and thought, I think it's wonderful that they don't eat meat. There was a lot of, crazy activism in their lifestyle, but there's crazy activism in everybody. There's always somebody that takes it to the extreme. Okay. But what Jeannie did, for me was she really helped me get Plant-Based Chico launched. And so we befriended each other. And I have to tell you, she has become one of my dearest friends, and she's my running partner. We're both 55 years old. She is a former marathon runner, half marathon runner. And Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays, we do our best that we can with our busy lifestyles to get in we always shoot for 4 days a week of running, but we don't always get it. But we always get those Saturdays and Sundays in. And so being whole food plant-based and reaching out to a person who is vegan for cruelty reasons, she is also now together, we're complementing each other. She's seeing the real truth health benefits of whole food plant-based. She also uses more of the higher calorically dense products, like you were saying, the analog meats, the vegan ice creams. You know, like she says, there's still people who are vegan who are still very healthy, and I believe that. But it's been a wonderful relationship and friendships where we've taken two polar opposite people that have came together, that together we're helping people, we're helping save animals, we're helping save the planet through not spending our dollars on buying animal products. That's, you know, helping the environment and our planet. And what a great feeling that is. I mean, we just have this wonderful friendship that's built on a great belief system. And she's one of my dearest friends now. And I think that my one takeaway that I can share with all of you during this talk is, if you don't have a Plant Pure Communities pod in your town, go on the website, create one. It's the best thing that you could ever do for yourself. You'll meet wonderful people, and you might just make a wonderful new friendship like I did. And now I've got Gina, you as a friend, and Jeanne as a friend. You know, we're on different ends of the country, but you know what? We're making a difference to so many people. And that is, it just brings me to tears, to be honest with you. And again, that goes back to my Forks Over Knives, pivotal moment for me. Was I felt that right then that was my calling, was to share this truth with as many people as I possibly could.
Powerful story there. And thank you so much for sharing that. Yes. And I shared the link earlier. You can find out more about a pod that would be in your neighborhood at plantpurecommunities.org. And if anybody's out there that can share that back in the comments real quickly, that would be great. And let's end it with Nancy. Tell them, please, places where they can, Jeanne and Jeannie. I was thinking that could be very confusing for people. Is that Jeanne's her running partner? Jeanne's her plant. I can't even say. You tell us where to find you so that people can get more information on your fantastic programs, and tell them the price, because the price is crazy, inexpensive. You guys listen up.
Okay, so I've got to tell you real quick now, I have 3 Jeannes and Jeannies in my life. I have Gina. I have a new connection that's local. Her name is Jeanne. She's a nurse that does the Adventist Health Program up in Paradise. We've made the connection. I've got Jeanne Schumacher, my Starch Queen partner, and my dear local friend, Jeanne Trezino of Chico Vegan Meetup, who does this amazing job with Chico Vegan Meetup. And she's such a great mentor for me. And of course, Gina Carr. But the Starch Queens, you can find us at www.starchqueens.net. That's our website, where you'll find a lot of great resources on plant-based living, transition, resources, cooking videos, a link to our weight loss program, or you could go directly to our weight loss program at sqweightloss.com. And there you can sign up. You'll give us your email address, and we'll give you a day's worth of Starch Queens recipes. We'll have your email as part of our email database. We're going to get to a point where we're going to start offering different packages in our Starch Queens program, so you'll get emails from us from time to time. But right now we're too busy. We're not even doing emails. But we want to get you a day's worth of our recipes so you can see what it's all about. Our pricing is, to sign up, the first month is $97. And that includes getting you all of the administration side of it, getting you into our secret Facebook group, getting you signed up in our Google Classroom, and then getting you all of the documentation that goes with our program, our recipes, our shopping list that gives you all of that. And then you get the whole classwork that month of education in the classroom and the coaching. And then if you want to stick with us, you just roll into $27.95 a month, and you get 20 days of education, daily topics and intensive discussions in our Facebook group, and a lot of support and motivation that a lot of people really have come to like to get them to their healthy destination.
Well, and to back that up, Lisa Sin out in the audience says, in the Starch Queen family, we feel very much loved and supported. So thank you for that.
We appreciate that, Lisa. You're doing fantastic. And Lisa has a wonderful story to share about her success in the program. Lisa is saying goodbye to blood pressure medications.
Woohoo! Oh my gosh, that's so fantastic. Yeah. And I hear you. I coached a few people in weight loss last year, and it's just incredible. And definitely brought tears to my eyes for them to come back and say, yeah, I'm off the blood pressure medicine. I'm off the the insulin, and I'm, really transforming their lives. Yeah. It's just an incredible, wonderful feeling. And I love amplifying and magnifying what people in this plant-based movement are doing, like you and your partner, Jeanne. And so thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story with us today. You guys, audience members, thank you so much for being out there. If you have any more questions, get in touch with me, get in touch with Nancy or Jeanne, and please, definitely, you're gonna love it. And they really teach you the basics and the advanced. I mean, there's something there for everybody, because they've been doing it. They really know it. And they have such an educator's heart. They have such a helping heart. And such helping hearts. So you are going to love working with them. And I strongly, strongly endorse their program. Okay. With that, we're going to wrap it up today. You guys take care. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.